is the first ever that I know about district Zoom meetings. So thank you all for being here. We have three very special guests with us today, and that's our Director and Rotary International Treasurer, David Stovall. We have Director Stephanie Urchik, and we have Director-elect Peter Kyle. You'll be hearing from all three of them in just a bit. I also want to thank your District Governor line, as we call ourselves, and that is our District Governor-elect Mike Walker, who is here, District Governor nominee Nico Iannelli, and your District Governor nominee designate Cam Chandon, and also our immediate past District Governor David Hare. I want to thank all of the assistant governors who are on the line, and a special thanks and shout out to our District Secretary Wally Olson, who is behind the controls and up in your corner. Thank you so much for being here. This meeting is being recorded, so if anyone does not want to be on the recorded line, feel free to drop off, but the mic is only going to be open for those participants who I just named who will have the opportunity to speak. So the purpose of the meeting today, first and foremost, is to stay connected with you, with our clubs in the district. As you know, 57 clubs in District 7680, and we are located in 14 counties of North Carolina. I have on my pin today, you can't see it, but it's a newly designed pin that Mike Walker can get credit for, indicating the counties in North Carolina that we serve and where you, the clubs, are located. And a big thank you for all of you participating. I see many of our current presidents and a lot of our president-elects on the line. Thanks so much. We're going to talk today about district and the impact of the COVID-19 on some of our functions and events that had been planned and where we stand with those. We're going to talk about other programs and what is happening in the district as it relates to those programs. And then we will also hear from our Rotary International Treasurer and Director David, Director Stephanie, and Director-elect Peter. I have suggested and given them topics that I thought would be of interest to all of us. Let me also say that the secondary purpose of this is to show you how easy having a virtual meeting can be. It's not perfect by any means. I was joking ahead of time that I have treats and snacks for my dog because I can't control if he starts barking uncontrollably. And we'll all be patient with that, I think, as we get through this virtual meeting and technology. It is important that during this time especially, we continue to stay connected because we know through our connections and bonds, we will be engaged and be able to react to things that need to be done within our district. Let me start first with the events and where we stand. Rotary Youth Exchange has been impacted, as you can imagine, and I have been in communication with our district chair, Karen Steffens, and her team, and I want to give them a big thanks for handling this situation with such professionalism and care and concern for our students. We currently still have inbound students, 4 inbound students who are here. I was looking to tell you their names and states. I've got it right here. We have our countries that they're from. 3 of them are here, Francesca from Italy, Pablo from Spain, and Suska from the Czech Republic, and they remain. Their families have decided that they're safe here, and clubs are doing a great job. Thank you for that, for communicating with parents. And also the chair, Rich Sampson, of our inbound students. Outbound, we have 2 outbound still placed. Tessa is in Belgium and Kat is in Switzerland. Both are very safe and secure right now in their countries and are continuing in their Rotary Youth Exchange program, pending the wait and see of any direction that Rotary Youth Exchange provides for us with this. If you remember during my visits to your clubs, I mentioned our Rotary Youth Exchange program, and in particular, the lack of utilization in our district of the STEP program, the short-term exchange. And I'm really thrilled to say that we have 4 already signed up and approved to be in the short-term exchange program. Of course, we're in a wait and see mode there also. We don't know if that will occur. We also have 5 students who have been approved for their outbound year-long experience and 5 students to come inbound. So I'm very excited about the activity with our Rotary Youth Exchange program. Continuing on with youth, our SFTL, that is our RILA for the directors on the line, our SFTL program, and I see Deb Corbett's on the line, and Nico, that is being postponed, but look for further information as we will work to have our seminar for tomorrow's leaders in the fall, or as we're able to do that. You've received communication about the postponement or cancellations of the RLI meetings, Rotary Leadership. And I'm hopeful that we'll be able to do some meetings virtually to continue that important training and engagement for new Rotarians and all Rotarians. Our district conference. I was so excited that we were going to do, for the first time ever, a Rotary District Conference cruise. Well, what bad timing to have a cruise in 2020. Who would have guessed that coronavirus would be an pandemic right now? We have made the decision at the district level to cancel the conference. However, we do not control what happens with Royal Caribbean and the cruise line. We have 122 people signed up and paid for this cruise, including many of you on the line. We will wait to see what Royal Caribbean decides. Currently, Royal Caribbean has canceled cruises through April 11th. Our cruise on April 24th departure is still on a go with the cruise line. However, again, let me reiterate that we will not have a conference for the district on that cruise ship, and we will not be rescheduling a cruise. However, we will be in contact with the 122 who are signed up with information about options, because at this time, Royal Caribbean has not offered a cancellation or full refund. I see Lorena is on the line, and Lorena has worked hard as our district conference chair. If you have questions and you're one of the 122 has signed up, reach out to either Lorena or Christina Beckman or myself, and we'll give you updates and options. We are in a wait and see mode on what Royal Caribbean will be doing for that. Grant training and grants. Our grants currently, I'm so proud of this district for the activity with grants and all the good that is being done in the world as a result of your use of the Rotary Foundation grant program. We had over 170,000 applied for in grants for money that came back to our district of 112,000. It was a difficult decision on where to use that 112,000. We know, though, that many projects have already been completed and implemented. However, some are also being impacted by COVID-19. And we have extended the date for your filing of the reports, and you will have the opportunity to hear more about this and receive communication. Sean Gontum, and thank you, Sean, for working with the grant committee, will be sending a communication, if he hasn't already, to all of the clubs who have our district grants currently active. The grant training that is scheduled with District Governor-elect Mike Walker and our new grant committee chair will be on April 18th, and you will be receiving more information about this. No, we won't be meeting in person, but we will be doing a virtual meeting that will be recorded so that you will be able to view this in the future also. All right, let me move on then about what we are doing in our clubs and ways that we can continue to do what Rotarians do best, and that's uniting and taking action. To that end, your district leadership, and that would be, again, the DG line, have developed a means of communicating needs within our communities. There will be a form that will be posted on our website that you can complete and submit as you find needs in the communities where you are located And we will review these and share them so that those clubs who want to participate and donate or become active in the needs can do so. That is one of the requests that I've heard, whether it's what can we be doing for those who are food insecure, what can we be doing for blood drives, what can we do for children with lunch situations, etc. We will have a place where you can put the needs in the community together. This has been developed. Cam Chandon took the lead on this. Thank you, Cam, our district governor nominee designate. We call him the ABC governor to be, because that's a lot of letters. But I'm excited that we will have a place for doing this. The other thing we are working to post, and we'll have a lot of information for you on our district website, is the club meetings that are being scheduled and willing to be open to all Rotarians for virtual participation. I participated this morning in my club's meeting done by Zoom, and it was great. It was fun. We still did our health and happiness. We just had a regular fun meeting, and it was great staying in touch with everybody and seeing that everyone was well and sharing some information and ideas on what can be done. My club is in particular working with Classroom Central to provide necessary classroom materials for those children who need to have other means of schooling during this time of canceled school. So there are some of the things that have been going on behind the scenes. You'll hear more about this. The other thing we will be doing is continuing these meetings. I have calls monthly with the assistant governors, and I've asked assistant governors to reach out to each club president and president-elect to find out how we can support you and to learn also what you are doing specific to your meetings, whether you want to participate or you are already holding virtual meetings, and whether you want to open those to others in our district. So please communicate that with your assistant governor. They're going to send everything back to me within the week so that we can have a list posted for everyone on opportunities and ways for us to stay connected in our communication and meetings. So with that, I'm going to hand over this mic to our Rotary International Director and Rotary International Treasurer, David Stovall. David, welcome, and thank you again for being here.
Thank you, Governor. It's great to be in Central North Carolina today, and it's even more awesome to have 77 members mostly from the district on the call. Thank you so much for having Stephanie and Peter and myself. You'd asked me to talk a little bit about the state of RI from the treasurer's standpoint, and I'm not normally known as a bean counter, but I am in mega bean counter mode for the last couple of 3 weeks. As you know, the board had a virtual meeting, its first ever virtual meeting on Wednesday of this week. Every member was there from around the planet. And as you already are aware, we did cancel the international convention coming up in Hawaii. It was the only decision that we could make to protect all of ourselves and to help get us in a lockdown mode from around the world. We do not think that there's going to be a financial impact there for us. This is the first time, financial impact of any size anyway, this is the first time since 1910. The first convention was in 1910. We had 60 people came to Chicago. First time we've ever canceled a conference for international convention for any reason whatsoever. We'll be refunding about $8.7 million to registrants. Every penny that has been paid in will go back out to the registrants, and if they had already canceled, we'll be refunding that. We have some other items that are contractual obligations and that type of thing that total about $2.5 million that we do believe that, given, especially since the governor of Hawaii has basically said, tourists don't come, we don't want you, that the force majeure clause in our insurance policy and in the contract will take care of us on that. In any event, however, should it not, we have a $10 million ongoing reserve that is earmarked for the international convention should there ever be a situation like this. So don't worry about the financials part of for the Rotary Foundation on the convention. Second of all, if you were coming, then the Director Stephanie and I have now canceled the Southland reception, and you should have received an email that all of those registration fees will be coming back to you in a few days. Since last week, staff has been working from home, and staff will be working from home at least through the end of March, but probably well into, if not the end of April, to keep them safe. We determined in a couple of test runs a couple of weeks ago, everyone stayed home to see if we had the bandwidth to actually run an international office of 500 people from remote locations, and thankfully we passed the test. Your responses might be a little bit slow, but they shouldn't be much slow. Most staff have their phones either forwarded to or their home or their office number. But if you do have a little bit of delay in response time as to what your normal, please just bear with us. We'll get that for you. The main thing to Stephanie and myself and Peter is that we need to just be there for you, the Rotarians, the grassroots Rotarians, especially the district governors and the governors I think you called it governors ABCs. But anybody at all, feel free to reach out to us. If you don't have our number, then just call Beth or Nico or Mike or Al, somebody that's in the room, that's in the governor's chain. We're in the directory, or you can go to Rotary.org and get my numbers and Stephanie's number from the board. We want to be here if you have things that you want to talk about. There are a lot of ways that we can continue to engage, and I feel very strongly that we've got to have engagement to come out of the other side of this storm with our membership intact. My concern is that if people are not engaged, they'll get disinterested and they will forget about the good times that they're having and the good things that we're doing. So I applaud your efforts. We're now up to 79 people on the call. Y'all rock. Thank you for letting us be with us today. I have about a minute left on my allotted time. Is there any quick question of me that anybody would have? Oh, also, overall financially, we're very proud that now, after the fact, Rotary always goes for a balanced budget. We just couldn't get it balanced this year. We came into the budget, out of the budget season with a $3.5 million surplus in our budget. So what returns that we've restructured all of our investment portfolios, both at Rotary and the foundation, that so far we're seeing no impact. And we have not even eaten up what little losses we have not even eaten up our $3.5 million surplus that we had. So one year that we're really glad that there were a couple of us that were real jerks and pushed the surplus through. Thank you.
Thank you so much, David. I appreciate you being on the call and sharing your time with us in District 7680. So with that, I'm going to hand off to Stephanie. Director Stephanie, thank you for being with us, and you have the microphone.
All right, thanks, Governor. You have a dog in your room, and I have a cat that just jumped in my lap, so I hope you don't hear him purring. The governor asked me to speak this morning a little bit about Rotary strategic plan. I think by now all of you are familiar with our vision statement. That was the first step, and how it was developed. We went out to the Rotary world, including non-Rotarians and former Rotarians and people in youth programs, and it asked them the simple question, what would Rotary look like if you had a clean slate? What would Rotary look like? And with that information, we came back and developed our vision statement. Together, we see a world where people unite and take action to create lasting change around the globe, in our communities, and in ourselves. And we went back a second time to the data to come up with our 4 big priorities. And those priorities, I'm sure you've seen them. They are on the Rotary website. If you need to get a copy of that, are expanding our reach, increasing our impact, increasing our ability to adapt, and enhancing participant engagement. I just want to make a couple of comments about each of those. Well, first of all, about the whole plan. The plan was developed as a corporate plan. but we can't keep it at that level. It doesn't do us any good to be only a corporate plan. It needs to get down to the clubs. And each club has to look at that plan and decide, how do we translate that? And how do we make sense of those priorities for our club? There is no cookbook. There is no real step-by-step guide that says do this and that and you're going to be in compliance. Every club needs to take the plan and use it locally. How does it make sense for your particular club? President-elect Holger has asked every club in Rotary during the next year to have at least one strategy meeting. One idea would be to take those 4 priorities and do exactly that. Have your club members discuss, how does this impact what I'm doing at the club level? So the first one, expand our reach, I think you understand. That's something that the COL in 2016 gave us the green light to do, because it opened the door for us to create new club models, new ways for people to participate beyond our legacy clubs. So there are now passport clubs and e-clubs and cause-based clubs and satellite clubs. It just really mirrors what's happening in society, that there are a lot of different ways that people want to engage in service. Some people pick up their personal device and with a few clicks they can clean up a highway or do some service. But those kinds of opportunities don't have what Rotary provides. We're built on fellowship. And even in uncertain times like we find ourselves today, look at this meeting. Look how many of us have found a way to get together and connect virtually. So expanding our reach is simply finding new and novel ways for people to come in. You know, I was on David and Peter and I were on a call yesterday with another governor, and at the end of the meeting, I noticed that she got an email from a former member who said, or it was on Facebook, who said, I really miss Rotary, I want to come back. So somehow he had heard about this virtual meeting and it appealed to him, and he jumped on the meeting, and now suddenly he's back, and she, I think, directed him to a passport club. The second one is about increasing our impact. That has to do with getting better at measuring the things we do, even at the club level, so that we can say to the world what it means after we've done that service. We're really good at counting things. You know, when Ian Risley was president, he told us to plant trees, and that's what we did. We all went out and planted trees. We counted them. We sent that information into RI, but it stopped there. There's input and outcome and impact, and we need to get better at getting to that other end of the spectrum so that we can attract more donors and more members and more organizations that want to partner with us. Bill and Melinda Gates jumped on our board bandwagon early because we were able to show impact and talk about those things from the get-go, that there would be so many millions of children who wouldn't be walking with crutches or be paralyzed, that we'd be saving so many billions of dollars in healthcare costs. And that caught their attention, and that's what we have to get better at every level. And then increasing our ability to adapt. You know, that's the one that has really kicked into gear this past 10 days. That's all about becoming more innovative and entrepreneurial and resilient. And aren't we doing that? We have figured out how to create fellowship opportunities. It's pushing us to use technology in new and different ways. And that's really what that particular priority is about. Getting new opportunities and creating more paths to leadership. And this whole pandemic that we find ourselves in is forcing us to think more creatively about how we do the magic of Rotary. And finally, enhance participant engagement. And David mentioned how important engagement is to us right now. You know, for those of us who are in legacy clubs, we go every week because we like being with other people who are in Rotary. The fact that there are so many of us on this call today says that we like connecting with other people who are in Rotary. So we need to pay attention to what members expect from Rotary. All of us on this call today expect fellowship, and that's why we're on this call. There are some people who come in for service, some come in for professional development, some come in for networking. So we simply have to be more responsive to what our members are really asking for and make sure we do that. When they don't get what they want, they tend to walk away. So those are the 4 priorities of our strategic plan. And I hope that you as Rotary leaders in your clubs and districts will have an opportunity to share that at the club level and have your club members talk about how each of those individual priorities make sense for your particular clubs. You know your club members better than any of us at the RI level do, and it really doesn't do us any good to have that plan stay at a corporate level. Thanks, Governor.
You're welcome, Stephanie. Thank you so much for being with us and delivering that great information. And
my pleasure.
I know these clubs, and I know you can count on them to have that strategy meeting and talk about it at the club level. And also to continue to pay attention to what our members want and be able to deliver. So with that, I'd like to introduce Peter Kyle. Peter is our director-elect who will be installed July 1st. Thank you, Peter, for being here today. I asked Peter to talk a little bit on environmental issues. So Peter, thank you.
All right, well, thank you, Beth. Good afternoon, everyone. Let me start by echoing the comments of David and Stephanie. We are so impressed. I think at the moment there are 84 participants on this call. And I can't tell you how encouraging, how inspiring that degree of commitment is as far as David and Stephanie and I are concerned. We were not sure whether people would sign up for these Zoom calls. We have been overwhelmed with the sense of commitment that people believe in Rotary. So thank you, Beth, for taking this initiative. Thank you for the presentation. Lovely to see some familiar faces. I see Wally Olson. Wally, we go back about 10 years to Frederick. I didn't realize that you're now where you are. So nice to see you and nice to see some other familiar faces. As far as the environment is concerned, I know there's a lot of anticipation around the Rotary world and a lot of hope that environment will be more directly involved in our activities, but we're not quite there yet. No decision has been made. From time to time on Facebook and other social media, there's reference to the environment being an area of focus. That's not correct. No decision has been made. The trustees will be meeting in April, probably online. I'm sure they'll be meeting online. And this item is on their agenda. How they will come down, I can't predict. My personal hope is that environment will become either one of our areas of focus or will be consolidated with one of the other areas of focus. But I emphasize that we're not quite there yet. But I do have some good news that I want to share with you on the environment. 2 years ago, Rotary had a Rotary Day at the UN in Nairobi, at the African headquarters of the United Nations. And that also happens to be the headquarters of the United Nations Environment Program, which is the environmental arm of the United Nations. While we were there, we asked to have a meeting with officials from the UN Environment. 5 young people came in. Turned out that the team leader, unbeknown to us, the team leader was a Rotary Peace Fellow. We were thrilled. The second person was a Rotary Ambassadorial Scholar. The third member of the team was a local club president. We had prepared our elevator speech, but we didn't need it. We threw it away. They knew almost as much about Rotary as we did. And they came with a list of 25 projects which they thought might be of interest to clubs and districts around the world. That meeting led to a high-level meeting between President Barry Rassin and the Executive Director of the UN Environment. And a few months later, a meeting between John Hugo and other senior officials of the UN Environment. And that in turn led to a wonderful initiative, which has led to the publication of an environmental toolkit. Rotary staff in Evanston got together with the staff from UN Environment and with our Environmental Sustainable Rotarian Action Group officials, and they produced a very professional publication. It was introduced in Hamburg last year. I don't have a copy in front of me, but it's on the Rotary website. It's an environmental toolkit, and it's designed to enable clubs to evaluate potential environmental projects, implement them, monitor, evaluate. It's a very, very practical publication. So I urge you to go online, and I'll try and find the link and send it to you, as a handbook on how to go about environmental projects. The second thing that I think is a good development, recently, as I mentioned, UN Environment is headquartered in Nairobi. And recently, UN Environment and a number of clubs, Rotary clubs in Nairobi, signed a memorandum of understanding to work on a range of environmental projects in Kenya, mainly to do with rivers, cleaning up rivers, removing rubbish, removing plastic. I think there are 6 clubs that have signed up. And I think that's a pilot project of what we might see in the future. More individual memorandum of understanding between groups of clubs in one part of the world and the UN Environment. They're very keen to pursue this. They would like to see an overarching memorandum between Rotary and the United Nations Environment Programme. We're not quite there yet because we haven't had a decision from the trustees, but we're moving in that direction. There's a lot of pressure from Rotaractors and millennials to move in this direction. When we carry out our surveys, the 2 causes that most appeal to Rotaractors and to millennials are the environment and human rights. So I think it's only a matter of time and mechanics of how we go about this. So no decision yet, but we're moving in that direction, and watch this space. This time next month or the end of April, after the trustees have met, we may have some good news. So let me stop there before my voice breaks. And again, thank you all for taking part of this call. Back to you, Beth.
Thank you so much, Peter, and thank you for that information. And I hope that everyone on this call has found some points of interest in the information provided from David, Stephanie, and Peter. I certainly have, and I hope that we'll take action. I want to go back to connecting and what you can be doing in your clubs, and many of you are already, but if you're not, I encourage you to find ways to connect with your club members and to think about that. It could be that smaller clubs can share meetings and maybe not even meet at the same time you normally do, but to have a Zoom meeting at a different time. Your assistant or area governor can help you with facilitating that. I know that the area governors are also planning to have with you, with the club presidents, some leadership meetings where we can talk about these things, how to have meetings. The technology is available. There are a number of means for you to get together virtually. One is the Zoom, what we're using here today. Zoom is also discounted on our Rotary Global Rewards. And if you don't know about Rotary Global Rewards, I encourage you to visit rotary.com or .org, rotary.org, and you can search for Rotary Global Rewards and find it, and you'll see a whole list of different services and vendors and products that are discounted for you as a Rotarian. One of them is Zoom. It can be used free for up to 40 minutes and 100 participants, or you can subscribe and purchase for unlimited time with 100 members for only, I think it's $14 a month or $149 a year for that subscription. But again, go out and visit rotary.org and look for the global rewards, and you'll see a way to subscribe to that. I also encourage you to join our Facebook page. District 7680 does have a Facebook page, so if you haven't been out there, please do that. We're posting information there and resources for you. The other place to visit is our district's website, which is rotary7680.org, and our webmaster, soon to be district governor, Mike Walker, has been doing an extraordinary job of keeping our website current and relevant. And I think you could find about everything you want to find on that website. Thank you. I also wanted to announce that we have a new webmaster who will be taking over from Mike, and that's our newsletter editor, Jenny Kendrick. Jenny, thank you so much for agreeing to do that. I know our newsletter to me has been outstanding for me to stay in touch with what everyone is doing, and I encourage you to continue sending Jenny information about your clubs, because we will put those in the newsletter, as you know. So please use that tool and communicate with us and let us know what's happening. Lots of ideas, lots of ways to stay in touch. There's also a Facebook group for our zone. David, I'm putting this one out there because he encourages us to, for Zoom, for getting also additional information. It is on Facebook, Zones 3334. David is also hosting meetings, David and Stephanie and Peter, every week. And there are 2 sessions that are repeated each week. And you'll be able to find that information on the Facebook group for Zone 33 and 34. You can also visit the Learning Center on rotary.org and find lots of ideas on the Learning Center for ways to engage your club members. It might be a good time to go through some of the courses that are available there. I encourage you also to continue having speakers, engage speakers through the virtual means, but make it meaningful for your members to continue being connected and engaged. There are also a number of speakers that you can ask to present to your club. I know that the directors on this call have offered and have great programs, so feel free to reach out to them. I hope you don't have 1,000 clubs reaching out though, but I know that they do an outstanding job when they do present to clubs. So just some ideas and ways to do that. With that, I don't see anything coming up. Let's say many ways to engage. Yes, in crises, and they're posted on David's page. Thank you, Stephanie. I think everybody can read this. So look in the chat. If you don't know how to find that, go down if you're on a computer to the bar in the bottom and find the chat and click that button, and you'll see all the information that's been posted there. So it is about 12:38. I had intended this to be about a 35-minute meeting, 40 minutes, and I think we're keeping to that. I want to thank you again for participating and ask you to join again. We will be sending information out. I've committed to having at least a monthly meeting, probably twice a month, a meeting similar to this, and everyone in our district is welcome to attend. I am open to ideas for what you would like to hear. Just send me a text or send me an email. Would love to hear from you. And when your assistant governors reach out to you, please respond with them and share the information about what you are doing and if there are any ways that we can help you. The district is here to support what you do, and I am so proud of what is accomplished by the clubs in our district. Anything to add? Directors, David, Stephanie, Peter? No? Okay.
Just keep the faith and Viva La Rotary. Continue to connect the world, especially there amongst yourselves in Central North Carolina, and join us on the web.
Thank you so much, Director David, and thank you everyone for being a part of our Friday. I hope you continue to stay healthy and safe, and thank you so much for all you do as Rotarians every day. With that, this meeting is ended. I forgot my bell, but pretend I have an